Welcome all across the galaxy. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2.9.1 patch notes for Star Wars Empire at War Awakening of the Rebellion. The reason why I'm going through this is because I mentioned in the previous Awakening of the Rebellion video that I was going to go over this because there's a few things I've encountered in the game from these patch notes and other things I haven't just yet, and it might be a while before I actually do that in game. So I wanted to cover it in the patch notes, so you're aware that this is in the game now, because there's some really cool stuff in it which I haven't done yet, and to be quite honest, I've forgotten about because I'm just in the mindset of need to do this and that. I've forgotten about all the new things. So we're going to go through these patch notes together, you and I, to figure out what's changed, what's different, and what improvements have happened. These patch notes are available in the Discord server if you want to have a read of them yourself. I'll also put a link in the Discord server, in the comment below for the Discord server and where to find it as well. But let's get into it. So, bug fixes. Fixed Vader and Iblis pop cap in space. I'm not too sure about this one. I'm just going to let you know there's some stuff I'm not 100% in the know for, but have some small understanding of what's going on. So with the pop cap, I believe it wasn't counting properly in space. So for those who are not aware, pop cap in battle is different to what the pop cap is on the galactic map. It's just so it scales correctly from ground and space and into the galactic map. Just so it's just so it makes a little bit more, just so it adds up a little bit more better, and the balance is there for each unit. Because of course Vader is different on the ground to what he is in space. Same with is Iblis a ground unit? I'm not quite sure on that one, but yeah, but that's been fixed now. It's now working properly. A fixed Army Trooper Medic heal effect. I haven't played 2.9 with the Army Trooper Medic for the Empire side, so I can't speak for them. I don't know if it wasn't working properly or if it was working too well, but yeah, they fixed it anyway. A fixed ISD 2 fighter upgrade. Noghri being always buildable has been fixed. Now the mission will enable them correctly. Fix the incorrect usage of is owner on planet and tactical. Fix some AI functions that used to break. Galactic Empire Endor chain. So this I haven't played myself because I'm not playing as the Empire, and I haven't reached that point in my campaign as well, but hopefully this is fixing an issue where the Death Star wouldn't spawn after winning the tactical mission. So you can imagine going through all of that effort and just not getting rewards. So I'm glad that is fixed. Hopefully, in quotation marks. Always save before that mission. I wouldn't call it save scamming because the missions can absolutely go all the way in your favor or absolutely just mess up for you. And it's not always the fault of your own or the fault of the game either. It's just the game was rigged from the start. But yeah, that's a good fix. Apparently that's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting to that point in the game. A rebel side. I haven't done it Empire side yet. Endor tactical mission, Empire. Re-enable regular victory after receiving the destroy all remaining rebel capital ship objective. Fixed an issue where the hint to put units at Endor during the Empire Death Star story arc to protect the Death Star construction site would not show in case you failed the scouting mission? All right. So you know when I don't know how if you've caught up in our playthrough, we've gotten the mission for Rebel side to have a decent fleet for the attack. So I imagine Empire side, they're doing the same for Endor or whatnot, because the because I don't know how it works Empire side, but it could be times. I'm making stuff up now, so I don't actually know. So I should really stop talking. But you want to have a decent fleet before that mission starts. So that's a good hint that is working properly. Turned off minimum range attack distance for space turbo lasers should help with units moving away from their attack target. So I think I was having problems with this myself actually, where you're trying to move away from a target because your shields and stuff is coming down, but you want to attack at the same time. But every time you attacked, your ship wouldn't run away. So turning off minimum range should help with that. Mind you, that doesn't mean that turbo lasers will be more accurate or more precise. It just means that they'll fire, but still able to move away from the attack, which should help with hit and runs, and also just retreating, but not a full-on retreat. So that is very good. Temporary reverted ground cover props. They were causing frame rate issues on ground maps. They will investigate this further, point to come up with a more pre-format solution. That does suck because I quite like that. I quite enjoy those props, ground cover stuff. It's really good for tactics and stuff like that. It's a shame that they've had to take them out. But if people are having a problem gameplay wise with frame rates, then all in all, it's a good thing. It's better to have, as most people enjoying the game by getting rid of a feature, than having that feature but only a certain amount of players enjoying the game. So it sucks to have it gone. For the moment, it's temporary, but hopefully they can find a fix where we can have the best of both worlds. Moving on to new features. This is where the fun begins. Space station defense fleets. So I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this in the previous episode, if not in the next one. Space station defense fleets are now randomized and based on current space and tech level era. There are 3 levels of defense fleets that coincide with the level of the main starbase shipyard built. The fleet size will increase with defense fleet level. The defense fleet will have the ability to spawn in newer tech units as more space techs are available, or if the era changes to New Republic. So what has happened? I quite like this change. So they've so you probably noticed this, and in a couple of, especially in the Redemption episode, where we were going through Jakku and whatnot, where we kind of knew what was going to happen, what we'd be up against. We knew it was going to be 2 Architans or Aquantans, 2 Dreadnoughts, and a couple of Carracks. Carracks, because it was that every time. With it being more randomized now, it means that it changes depending on the era level. It means that you don't know fully what you're going to go up against, and I kind of personally do prefer that. I like space, not like most space battles should play differently every time, to have a bit more of a nuance, instead of, even though there are changes visually to the map, it's still basically the same map. So with this randomization, according to the era or tech level, it just spices it up a little bit more. Also, with the change of era and the change of tech level, in the most recent episode and in the episode coming up next week, we fight some very interesting units, and but we wouldn't have fought before because of the era or unit change, but because I've changed it, it's made it a little bit more. You have to be a little bit more on your feet. You can't just go, oh yeah, just send in this. We know how to tackle this now. So yeah, I feel that's a better change personally. It just adds a little bit more spice to an already spicy gameplay. Because you should have some tactical knowledge. Of going into battle, of some reconnaissance of what you're going up against, knowing. But I don't think you should know that. Oh, gameplay wise, you shouldn't have, metagaming. You shouldn't metagame it too much. I like the idea of it being random, especially a rebel side going against the Empire, because not everything is correct all the time. But at least you have some idea. It could be. If you know the level Tech 2 and they've got a level 2 space station or a level 1 space station, you know that they could have 2 dreadnoughts and whatnot, or they could have 2 gladiators or whatever. Or maybe it's not 2 dreadnoughts, maybe it's 4 dreadnoughts and 2 carracks, or maybe it's 3 dreadnoughts, 1 carrack. But 3 acquaintance, stuff like that. Just take from the pool rather than saying going for quotas. But yeah, I think that's a better change, and it has made space battles a little bit more interesting and fun, especially when you get to week 247. Which I think we're on now. Space obstacles. This is the cool thing, which I haven't come across yet, because I forgot about it, but I am looking forward to doing this stuff. Space obstacles have been overhauled to have new gameplay mechanics. The 4 obstacles we have in game right now are asteroid fields, debris fields, nebulas, and iron storms. Those obstacles were usually better to just be avoided altogether, as they have only downsides, except for hiding transports in them or moving corvette fighters through them. We want to make them have advantages and disadvantages, risk rewards, so that sometimes it's just better for you to be inside an obstacle. This is, I'd say, very good for the rebels. It's more tactical, and I really like that mission, Outpost 13, where you had the Star Destroyers hiding in them. I thought it was a cool idea, and this is to go with this as well. And also to have this option available in every space battle makes it makes the space battles more diverse. So this stuff is pretty cool. So asteroid fields increases defenses by 25%. Because when they're firing at you, they're going to be hitting debris field. They're going to be hitting the asteroids rather than you, right? So there's less of a chance of it hitting you. However, if you're in an asteroid field, you're getting damage to your hull of the units inside because they're hitting you as well when they're moving. The bigger ships usually take more damage from the asteroid fields because there's more of a surface area, making the idea of hiding places for making it ideal for hiding places for fighters, corvettes, and frigates. I like that a lot. So, if you imagine it, the enemy Star Destroyer is not going through an asteroid field, but they're going through that little gap in between, and it's just coming in through. They don't know you're in the asteroid field, so you come out. So you're waiting until it passes, and you come out behind, and you attack from the engines. Boom. Nice. Great. Love it. I'm looking forward to doing some of these tactics myself. Asteroid fields have a passive point defense system that will shoot down any projectile going through them, simulating ordnance hitting asteroids. Bigger asteroid fields can shoot down more projectiles. So yeah, this is what I was talking about just a moment ago, where yeah, it makes sense that ordnances would be crashing into big rocks. So yeah, it's good stuff. Let's go take a drink quickly. Debris fields. Decrease defense by 10%. Damages whole of units inside them. Smaller ships take damage from them more often. Oh. Making them very dangerous for fighters and corvettes, while capital ships can traverse them without trouble. Oh. Alright. I see, I thought they were going to be the same as asteroid fields, but it's reverse. Oh. I suppose it's more smaller. I like it's different from the asteroid fields though. Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna have to write these down when I play the next do my next session. Nebulas. Jams all torpedo, rocket and missile weaponries. Disables abilities of units inside them. See, I thought that was the case to begin with. I know it disables abilities. That might have already been a thing, I'm not quite sure. But if it wasn't, and it's a new change for 2.9, power to them. Yeah, so that's good. I like that idea that it's a good defense against missiles, but it also means that you can't fire your missiles inside of them as well. It means that if you are in trouble, hide on a nebula. Especially, you know what? That's probably good against Black Sun with all their bloody torpedoes and missiles and rockets. But of course, maybe not if you're very dependent on shields and shield abilities. Yeah, I like it. It's all risk rewards. Ion storms increase fire rate by 25% because the ion storm is the electrical, or ion storm is powering, you know, your turbo lasers more better. A bit like Iron Man from Avengers when he gets hit by the lightning. Damage, but it damages shield over time. I like that. Risk reward again. Makes sense. It's damaging a shield, but you're increasing firepower. So it's like, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Additionally to these effects, all obstacles lower fog of war of units inside them. Some special units like scout ships, long probes, TIE scouts, ARC 170s are excluded from this. Yeah, it makes sense. I'd assume it's also if you're in a nebula, people can't see you inside the nebula as well. They'll probably say that in just a moment, but yeah, it makes sense that you can't see that great outwards. But if you have a long probe inside one of them, that makes sense as well, because that is what that unit is designed for. Yeah, like that. Besides these gameplay changes, the Nebula and Iron Storm have also gotten new visuals, making it easier to distinguish them and just making them look better. Yeah, I think they're great gameplay changes and make space battles a little bit more nuanced. So all in all, good stuff. New textures, particles for space fires. Nice. New added Chimera painting to Thrawn's ISD. It's a shame that our Thrawn is now dead. We're not going to see that, but I wonder what that looks like now. Probably good. Black Sun spaceship changes. Ooh, and let's see the controversial here. I personally don't have a big problem with Black Sun, but then again, my campaign doesn't have the Black Sun in it, so, but I personally don't mind the Black Sun. I know that some people are having a bit problem with them. because they are quite difficult, especially early in game, but once you get tech level 2 or 3, they get a little bit easier to handle against. But I understand people's problem with it, but they are, well, what do you call it, it's like it's not a fair fight. I mean, that's the whole point of the Black Sun. It's not a fair fight because they play dirty. I've forgotten the term, and it's going to re-bug me, and I'm going to remember it once I've uploaded the video. Is where one team... Anyway, you've got 3 teams. 2 teams are like similar, but not like... They have counters and attacks against each other. But there's this other team which just say, "Oh, let's ruin this party, shall we?" But you can benefit from that as well. No, they don't. You have to fight. You have to find new tactics to fight their unfairness, which is the whole point of Black Sun. If you can't beat them, join them. Anyway, let's get on with this. Added the following new features, units for Black Sun. Longhorn, a new main dockyard unit for the Black Sun, comes with a broadside heavy laser cannon, perfect for destroying corvettes and frigates. The Longhorn escort frigate is it's a very old cargo ship developed prior to supercarriers like the Captor and Lucrehawk. Their low cost makes them attractive to smaller businesses, spreading Longhorns even to the most separated areas of the galaxy. Over time, Longhorns have been captured by pirates and transformed into battleships, removing their cargo holders and replacing them with weapons instead, especially in more primitive areas of the galaxy. One is likely to encounter a band of pirates using the Longhorn as their commanded ship. That's the ship there. Nice. Lictor. The Lictor dungeon ship was once used by the Mandalorian Neo Crusaders to transport prisoners, even Jedi. It avoided the use of shielding to be harder to detect by sensor systems and relies purely on its excellent armor for defense. If there ever was a rescue attack launch at the Lictor, it could take on other cruisers with its turbo lasers, while smaller ships didn't have enough firepower to destroy the blast doors protecting its hangar base. So that ship is probably good to use in the Ion Storms because it has no shielding. That's just a win-win scenario. Yeah, I think the Black Sun will be very good to use in space and in those areas because when I say janky tactics, that's their whole game, isn't it? Is not playing fair. So you want to be using those, like the Ion Storms, for those units because that's what you do. they don't have that. They're all about profits and money, and they're about fighting dirty. They don't care about honor, and I love that. I kind of want to do a playthrough of the Black Sun because they sound like a really fun faction to play as. But yeah, I can see them being really fun and using these new units being just funny, for lack of a better term. Right, let's move on to the Captor. Developed prior to the Clone Wars to serve as an armed cargo ship for the Trade Federation, the Captor carrier was often seen as a little brother of the Lucrehawk. It offers enough space to house multiple squadrons of fighters and equipment to sustain them, to make them a valid carrier to support smaller and larger battle groups. The high amount of automated systems also reduces the need for big crews, making the Captor attractive to pirates and private defense fleets alike. The Captor itself shouldn't pose much of a threat to modern ships, but its size makes it durable enough to deploy and support its fighters. The Captor. So this is from, I believe, like it's from the Clone Wars CIS, like from Jedi Starfighter or Starfighter. But yeah, it's like a baby Lucrehawk. Pretty much. You know what it reminds me? It looks a lot like a Gladiator, but just a little bit more rounder. Yes, yeah, so it's a carrier ship. Nice. The Invincible Dreadnought. Looks a bit like a oh, you know what that looks like? It looks a bit like a what they're called? A battle star from Battlestar Galactica. It looks really nice. With a bit of Corellian corvette and Corellian dreadnought. The Invincible Dreadnought, the Magnator battle cruiser, used to be a mining vehicle. It was able to move gigantic asteroids with its tractor beams and even do material extraction and storage itself. In modern days, with more powerful tractor beams and more efficient solutions, the Magnator? No, Magnator sounds right, because magnates. Yes, a magnet. The Magnator has often been refitted to serve as a flagship of planetary defensive forces or even pirates. Magnators can take a beating and have powerful enough reactors to power strong weapons, but their shielding and movement is not up to modern standards. It's a bit of a glass cannon there. I like that though. Like I said, the Black Sun is just like, it's a war and drugs? No, absolutely not. War on drugs. Yeah, this is making me want to play the Black Sun. They sound like really fun units to play as, and I like the look of them as well. This looks like a good ship. XTS mine lasers. Leia. Oh, I was reading this earlier. This sounds like this could be a pain in the ass to fight against, but a lot of fun to play as. The XTS container transport was one of the most common freighters during the Galactic Civil War. It was one of the most common freighters during the Galactic Civil War. Its cargo capacity and decent defenses ability against small pirate groups resulted in great success, making Zejor billions. Besides carrying cargo, the XTS transport was also used to lay down highly explosive minefields to lock down areas of space, forcing enemies to only attack from a certain directions. If the situation called for it, the mines could also be self-destructive remotely. Ooh, allowing the small crew to escape when units are in minefields, then take huge amount of damage. Sorry, when units are in the minefield, they take huge amount of damage. Minefields will lose health over time as they do damage and eventually run out of mines. Ooh. That can be very... Oh, that's just giving me like World War II naval battle vibes. Oh, those could be really fun to play as. But you can see what I mean. I can imagine. So, I want to read that sentence again. When units are in minefield, if the situation calls for it, The mines could also be self-destructed remotely, so you can explode them. So when they get close to the minefield, that sounds like a lot of fun. I wonder what the mines look like if you're the enemy team, if they're easy to spot or if they're difficult to spot. You can see the triangles in this image. Let's see if I can make this bigger. I can't. But anyway, I don't know if you can see them. There's like small pyramids or triangle sprites in space there. So you can see them, and you can see them lighting up. You have to keep your eye on the ball there. Oh, they could be very fun to play against and play as. Yeah, but it just makes the space battles more different. Got to keep your eye out against the Black Sun. Also, they look I'm getting it reminds me of what's those ships called? Well, container transports. Is it the Outbound flight? Yeah. Nice. Like that a lot. Yeah, so those are the new ships for the Black Sun. I think those look fun to play as. Removed the Carillion Destroyer and Liberator from Black Sun Ship Trader. So I suppose this is replacing the Carillion Destroyer. Makes sense, and that's replacing the Liberator, because they basically do the same thing. That's an acceptable change, don't mind that, and it also makes visual representation for the Rebels and for the Black Sun distinct. Good change, like it. Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want things duplicating. Otherwise, what's the point of having two units that basically do the same thing? I like that. It keeps it streamlined and polishes it up enough to where factions are different visually and gameplay wise as well. I like it. Moved Interceptor 4 Mir to Trader. I need to play as the Black Sun a little bit more, because I understand, because their trader works differently to how it works for we don't have traders for the Rebels or the Empire. But yeah, they good changes. I like them. And man, I don't know. You haven't seen this episode yet, but we go up against me. I go up against, I think, about 10 Mirs, and they all fire the lasers at the same time at once. And it's like, oh my god! It's in the episode that comes out next week. Just like, oh my, I fear Mir crew. I fear the Mir so much. The little ships, and they're easy to kill. Not easy to kill, but they're easy to kill. But when they fire against you, it's just like, oh my god, this is what it feels like firing the Liberator Venator. I fear the Mir. Nothing frightens me more. Right, MC-80 Justice now have a new ability. The combat battle bubble shield. So I did use this in next week's episode. The bubble shield is back. So this was something which was in development for a while. Testers were talking about this, about the bubble shield, and what it does, it creates a best way to explain it is, you know what the Gungans use in episode 1, where it creates a massive shield? If you put ships inside of it, close to the MC-80, well, I'll just read the patch notes. The Justice can overpower its shields and project a bubble that will protect nearby units inside that bubble. However, any damage that hits the bubble drains the Justice shields. So the Justice sacrifices its own shield power to protect nearby units inside the bubble. Units and shielding piercing projectiles can pass through and deal damage. It replaces its fighter supplement ability. I personally prefer this. I have used this in next week's episode, and it is a cool ability. I'm glad they've got it to work properly now, because it is so cool. It is. So imagine, if you will, a situation where your ship has lost its shield. For example, the Venator Shaq's ship, right? So like, oh damn, I don't want to take him out of battle because he's very useful. No, we don't have to, because we can just have an MC-80 next to his ship, activate that bubble shield, and they're protected. Of course, not against units coming into the shield and projectiles, but against blasters and turbo lasers. It like I said, it just gives you more options, and that's what we need, because I like having different units do different things. It just makes it more nuanced. And I'm so happy they've got it working, because when they were talking about the bubble shield, it is a good idea and I like it. So yeah, I hope to use that more often. Reworked the Y-Wing model. It changed the shadow mesh and added specular texture to normal map. So as you can see here, it used to see this was a vanilla shadow mesh, and yeah, just a basic visual improvement, a lot more better, and it looks like this, like I said, a spectacular texture. Like it looks like a more better visual improvement. So all in all, a good change. That looks like it's a texture on the ground map. So yeah. Hey, I've already championed this, but this is the new Y-Wing probe model. I mentioned this in this week's video and in the next week's video, just how much I like this model. I just love it. It just visually it helps to and gameplay wise to know the difference between the long probe and the normal Y-Wing. But I just like the look of it. It looks like a scout ship. Like I mentioned it again with naval World War II stuff. It looks proper. I love it. It added new Manaan and reworked. Added a new Manaan and reworked Concord Dawn ground maps. Alright. Oh, interesting. Because I've got a battle on Manaan and it hasn't changed it. And I've seen the new map. I was shown the new Manaan. I wonder if you need to start a new game for that. Don't quote me on that. I will post this and I'll put it in there. Whatever. But I haven't seen that in next week's episode. So that might be a case of a new game start. But that's fine. But yeah, the new Manaan map is... I've seen a screenshot for it. It might even be in publicly available. I'm not quite sure, but it is. It looks good. It's a lot better than the old Manaan map. You know, where you were massive on Atto City. You know, Atto City is supposed to be a really big place, but in in the game it's quite small. It's just a better change. And the Concord Dawn map is more better populated as well. But yeah, it hasn't changed for me, unfortunately, in next week's episode. But it is it is a lot better. Updated and optimized X-Wing models and shadow mesh. Fixed S-foil animations. Nice. New AAF1 model with death animations. Nice, good change. It's good to see death animations and death clones come into the game. because it does look pretty cool when a ship explodes, and it looks good for, you know, when I do the movie battles button for the game. It's just nice, isn't it? It just makes the game wow. So yeah, that's good. It's also a nice model as well. I say I'm nice a lot, but I do mean it. Lady Luck added as a space transport to Lando. Love seeing the Lady Luck being represented in Awakening of the Rebellion. It's a nice ship. It is a nice ship. I remember in Star Wars Galaxy having this ship. It is a pretty ship, and you see it in Jedi Outcast as well. He flies with style, and it's just for a man of his caliber, it does look better than the Millennium Falcon for his own leisures. You know, I'd rather have a party in the Lady Luck than in the Millennium Falcon. You know, so it's very much a party ship, or a diplomatic ship for a Baron of Bespin or Cloud City. But yeah, nice. I should use Lando more often, but I'm using him more of a governor than anything else. A new Carrack model. Yeah, I can't remember what the old Carrack model used to look like, but that does look. It looks good. Yeah. Good work, model makers. Gave space defense structures build limit per planet. Gave space defense structures build limit per planet. Okay. AI optimization by turning some units to neutral. Reworking some units to only have the correct affiliations. Changed some voiceovers of Sundered Heart from Captain Antilles to Leia. Changed Underworld campaign. Starting units to have main starbase ones. Lando has a new charisma ability that converts non-droid infantry to fight for the rebellion. Ooh. Oh, I quite like that. So it's a bit like not Zizor, Draco Malfoy's father. What's his name? The consortium guy, Zan. Zam's ability where he bribes people. It's basically that, but charisma. I kind of like that. Just Lando just going, hey, what do we have here? And then people just like, oh, that's it. I'm fighting for you now. Now I've got to use Lando. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like some droids would convert, right? You know what I mean? A bit like L3 from Solo. Yeah. I'm going to have to use Lando now. I like that. That's just a funny ability. Akbar is now buildable in non-story campaigns. So if that's probably like decent if you're doing the web campaign, which is good change. I don't play the webs, but for those people who do, that's a good change for them. MC80 Independence available after Space Tech 2 in non-story campaigns. Good gameplay change for that. For, like I said, the web. Moncal negotiation mission unlocks MC80 Independence. Build limit of 3 requires Space Tech 2. Nice. Balance updates. The Y-Wing long probe is much faster in combat. That's good. Means survivability is a little bit more improved. Reduced income of Empire asteroid mines from 500 to 400. Ships with ion torpedoes ability now do it automatically. Ability has been removed. Okay. Effects, what the wild card, MC75, Corsair frigate, Full salvo now improves fire rate of ion torpedoes. Okay, that sounds like a decent change. I'll have to fight with the MC-75 more often. I do like that ship. So we'll investigate that more in game in a couple of weeks once I know what I'm doing. Dropped the refit Venator health back down to regular Venator health. Fair enough. That's for the Black Sun, so I don't really know too much about that. AI planet attack restrictions have been redone to be more modular per campaign. There are now 2 types of planet attack restrictions. Planet limit restriction. AI will stop attacking any planet after they control a certain amount. Against AI restriction, AI will not attack any other AI controlled planet. I'm just processing that myself. Right, so player limits restriction. AI will stop attacking any planet after they control a certain amount of planets. So I'm assuming this is for minor? Oh, no, this is for... No, because we've got something here for minor. So this is for the opposite team. So they can't... So from my understanding from this, they can't completely dominate the entire map. So, you know, you can't lose? Is that what I don't, maybe I'm just not understanding that properly. We'll stop attacking any planet after they control. So, yeah, that's what I'm getting from that. So they won't get 100% galactic victory. Against AI restriction. That's what I understand from that anyway. Let's continue anyway. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll amend it. Against AI restriction. AI will not attack any other AI controlled planet. Is that when they reach a certain point as well? I suppose this is once they reach a certain point. I'm a little bit confused with these 2 bullet points because I quite like the idea of AI fighting against each other. I think I am misinterpreting that. Yeah, I don't think I'm understanding that 100%, but yeah, I'm not. From the way I'm interpreting that, I don't know. But we'll move on. Minor AI will have both restrictions placed on... Oh, okay. Oh, right, I understand. So these are not permanent all the time. They just activate at a certain point. Okay, right. Now I'm with you. Okay, I'm with... Yeah, that would be a bit weird if that was the case. Otherwise, they'll just be continually attacking you to a certain point. All right. So they are restriction. They're like rules which are placed on the AI at certain points when a certain trigger is activated. Okay, all right, that's cleared it up. Yeah, oof. Let's get a bit worried then. Underworld AI will have the against AI restriction in story campaigns. All right, fair enough. Reduced Boba Fett's ability and Beskar no longer applies to small vehicles. So was Boba Fett just like getting like pounded by AT-ATs and whatnot, or whatever? It was just like does what Luke Skywalker does in The Last Jedi. Oh wow, that's great, but that doesn't happen anymore. All right, that's fair enough. Yeah. Boba Fett sounds like an absolute mad lad just running around the galaxy making... Yeah, Yeah. Added additional defenses for a rebel AI to Malinist and Ranvar on the main campaign. Heavy Corellian corvette added blockade run ability, removed overcharge from Black Sun version. Heavy Corellian gunship replaced assault missile with heavy barrage rocket. Minor factions have a build limit for a total amount of space units they can build, with the build space AI unit AI plan. If they are mounting an attack, they will still build units towards that goal. I think that's decent for them to have a build limit because they have a I wouldn't say annoying, but they have a tendency to doom stack. So yeah, that's probably for the best, isn't it? New overcharge reactor balances. Just to get back to that, because minor factions are supposed to be minor. They shouldn't be taking up half of the map like the Hapes Consortium are doing to us. To be fair, we did lit them. It was, we were so unprepared for the Hapes in our campaign. But, all power to them. But yeah, I think that's a nice change. New overcharge reactor balance, shorter ability time and cooldown, but less damage taken per use. So the more often you use it, the less effective it is. Also changed the fire rate from ×10 to ×4. Created a large version of fighter supplements for larger ships. Adjusted abilities for shorter cooldown, increased deployment range. Makes sense, you know, capital ships should have a better supplements compared to a U-wing. Nice change. Makes sense as well. Star Viper hull has been buffed to 35, like Valinor again. LMAO. Yeah, all in all, I think they're decent changes for 0.1. I like the new ships, especially for the Black Sun and the Y-wing long probe. I think they're better changes, especially the new features for the environments for space. I'm going to stop going on because we have been going on for oh god, this was nearly an entire session, 52 minutes. But I felt like it was important to go through the notes together so we both have some understanding of what is going on in the new update. I will probably do the same for 0.2 as well, for future updates. I wished I did this for 2.9, but I won't because it's been, gosh, since May, it's been a while. So yeah, I feel like going through this, reading them out, feels like we understand these updates a little bit more better, and we can use these to our advantage to playing our campaign, your campaign, understanding the game a little bit better. All in all, I quite like the changes. A few of them, after reading them 2 or 3 times, we kind of understood what was going on eventually. But yeah, until then, I hope your campaign goes well. Fighting a good fight against the Hutts, the Black Sun, the Rebels, the Empire. But until then, may the Emperor's blessings bestow upon you.